Find product links below and hundreds more videos on my channel.
Hi everyone, welcome back. So today I wanted to show you my new background in my home studio and also show you some new lighting, and I'm just going to take you through as I work with it, as I set it up, because right now it's not set up, it's the way that I would have it just there waiting for use, sort of packed away I would say, but generally I've set it up in a way that I just sort of roll it up and it doesn't get in my way and doesn't look like it's taking up too much space, and I could roll it up a little bit further if I wanted to, but I mean generally I'll just leave it like that if I wanted. And I want to show you how amazing this paper is to work with and how amazingly low cost this entire setup is and how gorgeous it looks for the cost. So I'm quite excited about this, so let's get started first of all with a little explanation about the lighting. I've used a lot of compact fluorescent lighting kits, CFL kits in the past, and various CFL lights, and I use them in some of my other setups as well, like my sort of white background table, and which is behind the camera right now. And CFLs are cheap and they're nice to work with, except they're not dimmable, but they do give a nice light. However, if you have multiple bulbs, you can turn the bulbs off individually and then get dimming that way, which is what this kit gives. And this kit comes in at an awesome price point. I will have a full review about this where I'll show sort of the power output and the light quality and things like that. But just as an example here, we've got the light, we've got two lights that cost £50 each, and that's with stands and softboxes and bulbs and obviously a cable and a carry case and things like that. So really, really awesome light, which is dimmable for that price. Really quite awesome, except it does have its downsides, which I'll talk about more in the review, but basically it's not that great for traveling with. It just takes time to set up, but and it's fragile, but great setup. I love these lights, and I got two of these, but I will I was actually just got these to review for you guys, but I may I really like these, and I may end up getting two more so that I have a complete sort of studio set up, and I can do a little bit more things with lights that all sort of match up together. And because I've had a lot of noise issues with the various high power LEDs that I've been trying, which I mean they're lovely, but I have to fix they just got really loud fans in them, well, at least the good ones do. So I'm still working on trying to fix that. So meanwhile, I'm really liking these compact fluorescents. So let's get over to the background. What I've done is I've set it up on two stands, and if you do something like this, you don't have to use expensive stands, but use strong stands. So it doesn't have to be something, basically you can find relatively low cost stands that aren't going to break on you and that do have very wide legs. It is quite important for a background like this. The weight of that is around 3.5 kilograms based on the specs in the eBay listing. I actually bought this from Amazon, but I'm pretty sure it's the same seller since they have like the same photos. But that's it. Okay, so first of all, size-wise, that is a 2.72 meters, which off the top of my head, I don't know how much that is in foot, but sort of like 9 foot-ish, and it's 11 meters long. So you sort of keep rolling it down. Every time you sort of ruin the bottom bit, you just sort of cut it off. And for a similar price, you can also get vinyl, and vinyl is going to be, well, it should be more resistant to getting damaged, but if it gets damaged, it's much more difficult to repair. Whereas, with paper, you just cut it off. With vinyl, if it does get damaged, then you would need to replace it or try and fix it. And with vinyl, I wouldn't be able to light through it. By the way, vinyl is like a kind of plastic, similar to sort of like fake flooring and that sort of thing. Well, not fake flooring, like imitation wood flooring, that sort of thing. So vinyl for me would have been, first of all, heavier, and even though some people prefer it, it wasn't my preferred choice. I preferred paper because I can light through it. I can place the lights behind it, which means that I still get this lovely white background, but without any lights around the area that I need to work in, except if I want to add more light onto myself. But very similar to this, the light sort of wraps, when the light's coming from behind, the light sort of wraps around the subject, and with a little bit of fill light from there, which could even just be like a bounced light. Similar to my table setup, which I've spoken about before, where I light it from underneath the paper. Here, if I light it from behind, that also allows me to get really close to the background without any shadows. In fact, I could even touch the background without getting any shadows, and I will show that in a future video. For now, I'm just going to show sort of the regular, more sort of standard sort of lighting with it. So the fact that I can light through the paper for me was really important, and that's why I went with paper. And again, like I said, it's lighter, so it was easier to work with. I think it was around half the weight of the vinyl, of the same width, even though it has a lot more length than the vinyl. So there was a really, really big weight difference from the vinyl. And okay, so what I did, I took 2 stands, and I didn't want to buy a set of stands especially for that. So I used some stands that I already had because I had ones that were good enough. And you know, they're not expensive, but just very big and beefy and strong enough to hold it. And mainly you're going to want size, basically a wide feet and tall enough, of course. And so here my ones reach all the way to the ceiling, which I find is quite important to get really, really good stability and not have the thing move around at all, because the stand sort of, I put a little bit of tape at the top of the stand, and that sort of makes it a little bit softer, doesn't scratch my ceiling, and I sort of press it up against the ceiling so that it sort of just creates this very solid thing. And then I went to the local timber place and I bought I bought a piece of 50mm thick, like a pole made of wood. I'm not sure what that's called, but a piece of wood that's round, that fit pretty well into the paper, which of course comes on a roll. But I thought, you know, just wanted some extra stability, and even though it's not necessarily needed, but I found that it works a little bit better and a little bit easier for me to work with when it has a very solid thing to sit onto. And that cost me £10, so it wasn't too bad. You could probably get even cheaper, but I just went for like some nice quality wood, just so it's a bit nicer and stronger. So, as a very simple sort of setup, which I could use for like quick reviews and that sort of thing, quick headshots, or whatever, you know, whatever I need to do. So I've got the sofa bed right here, and that I can basically just leave there. I did think about moving the sofa bed, but I found that it's so much easier to use it the way I'm using it right now, which is, first of all, set up like this. So for really quick things, all I have to do is just pull this down. And first of all, right away there, I have a setup that I can use. So, now of course this might not be perfect, I'm doing this very quickly, but as an example of how quick that was for me to go from a place that doesn't have a background and that I can just do whatever other things I need to do in, like live here, and very quickly go to this, you know, just really lovely big white bright background. And then I can, right now what you're seeing is you'll see me quite a bit bigger than I would have to be because the background is quite far away from me. So, you know, the closer I get to the background right now, I've still got a couple of feet to go, but the closer I get to the background, the bigger the background is able to be. So what I'm going to actually do now is I'm going to show you what this is like if I were to move the stands closer to me and then bring the background right the way down and under my feet. So let me show you how I've done this. First of all, well, another quick note about the reason that I went for a pole made of wood that was a good fitting size, which again was about 50mm, is because the roll doesn't roll on its own. It has a lot of friction inside because it's sitting on a thing that fits it size-wise. It has a lot of friction, so the roll doesn't want to roll on its own, even with the weight of the paper, which you'll hear is quite a common issue when people are using paper rolls, is that once you pull the paper down far enough, the weight of the paper will start unrolling this, the roll. So it'll start coming down, and obviously if you don't stop it in time, the entire roll is going to reach the floor. So some people use clamps to prevent this from happening, but I found that just using a pole that fits it in size helps to create a bit of friction in there and prevent it from moving when I don't want it to. As well as if, well, what I did was I took a piece of card, and hopefully I'll explain this properly. If not, let me know, I'll post another video where I'll show it close up. But it's very simple. let's say if the wooden pole is here and the roll is sitting on it like that, then what I did was I put a piece of card in between them. And that's just at one side, sort of a roll of card, which I made just using a piece of packaging and some tape. And you could use something else like a piece of sort of plastic packaging or whatever you have around the house, and a bit of tape. And what I've done is I created something that was very snug up against the outside of that. And I just did that by wrapping tape around that pole. So it's very snug around the inside of the paper roll. And you should be able to see that in the background now. I'll show you that in a second. But basically, it's very snug up against that paper roll, but not too snug on the actual pole that it's sitting on. You'll see that in the corner right here. Basically, it's this little thing right here, and it's basically connected, sort of, basically just snug up against the inside of the roll, but not too tight on the wooden pole. So it can spin on the pole, but it doesn't spin, the paper roll spins with it. So basically it gives me a very nice handle for me to be able to roll this up with, as well as I think it also might give a little bit of extra protection from having this thing roll on its own, but I don't really think it makes such a big difference for that. And then, as you can see, I will use a lot of force and press it up against the ceiling so that I know it's not moving, and then make sure that my stand is tightened up really, really well, because you don't want one of these things to come undone and then have the thing sort of fall downwards. And what you might want to do is get some air cushion stands, which are more expensive, but basically what that'll do is it won't be able to quickly and easily open and close because it has air inside that, which has to be released slowly. So yeah, that basically just means that it doesn't very quickly open and close, which means that it won't go bang very quickly. So as you can see, there's sort of pressure fighting against me because the air has to come out slowly. Yeah, so I think that could be important depending on your uses and preference, but I don't have air cushion stands right here because I know that I'm going to be very careful with them, and I know I'm going to make sure that they don't drop. So I'm going to be pulling this down and get that to come down. For today's example, this will be fine. And again, I've set the camera up pretty quickly. This might not be perfect. Usually I'd go back and forth a few times, double check that everything's looking perfect. But over here, basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to tilt the lights just a little bit and aim them a little more towards me. So that is looking pretty good. And ideally you'd want a little bit more space from the background, which of course I could create by moving my couch or something like that. But for now, this is giving me light that looks very nice on me. Of course I could change the light around, I could raise these or lower them if needed. I could add more light bounced off something. So as an example here, I've got another compact fluorescent light. This is around a £15 bulb, and a unit like this will cost you around £35 or so. But of course there are many other solutions for CFL lighting, but this here is quite a strong bulb. I'm actually going to put this in it. This is a 150 watt bulb. So that'll get brighter in a second. These things do need to warm up a little bit. But so if I wanted to, I could give myself a little bit of extra light, or something like this, where it's sort of bouncing off the ceiling a little bit more. But yeah. Okay, so I hope that you have found this information helpful, and I will have some actual proper footage shot with this and photos and things like that. And yeah, so thanks for watching. Do check out the links down below for photos and video examples. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me in the comments. And of course, don't forget to subscribe and check out my other videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!